Shout out to Q Smitty, L.E.O Productions. This is our Marlon Barbour, aka Magical Marlon, hailing from the wonderful city of Baltimore, Baltimore, Maryland, known and popularized by the HBO special The Wire. I'm down here in Birmingham right now, about to give an exclusive interview here in Birmingham, B-Ham, also known as Magic City.
Marlon Barbour, man, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well today.
That's
enjoying
what's
this
up,
beautiful
man.
weather.
Yeah, man, it's very beautiful and very hot at the same time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's springtime in the South.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I had to go ahead and get you on the platform real quick, so you can spread this knowledge to the rest of the world. A lot of stuff has been going on, man, and we've chopped it up quite a few times. So, you know, it's very important for us to get this message that we have today, all right, out there.
Okay.
Who is our Marlon Barbour?
I'm Marlon Barbour, aka Magical Marlon, also known as Marlon. I'm a father. I'm a leader. I'm a husband. I am an advocate for justice and education. I am an entrepreneur. I am a socialpreneur. I'm a spiritual being. And I'm a loving man that's purpose-filled, driven, and always looking and striving to go to that next level in life.
Okay, so talk to us a little bit about Baltimore, Maryland. What was it like growing up there?
Okay, growing up in Baltimore, Maryland, for me as a kid, it was very devastating as it pertains to the psycho-emotional trauma that I experienced, watching people get stuck up, watching people get beat, watching people get shot, watching assaults, seeing men and women sitting on the steps in row homes. That pretty much, Baltimore is pretty much, it looks like how Detroit is. Gazillions of row homes with people sitting out on the steps, nodding off, smacking their arm, legs swollen up like trees with track marks in it from heroin. Mad killings. It really affected me a lot. By the age of 10 and a half and 11, I was seeing a probation officer and a counselor, and had one foot out the door. By the age of 11 and a half, my mom had signed me over to the state, and I became a ward of the court, moving around, bounced around from one placement to the next, throughout the D.C., Maryland, Virginia metropolitan area, all the way up to close to the Delaware border. Had a profound effect on how I look at surviving, how I look at moving and shifting and just trying to stay out of trouble and negativity, so that I can live a long life. It's really helped me in growing up in Baltimore to be an extremely driven person. Baltimore right now currently is in the top 3 murder-stricken cities in America, running hand in hand with Chicago and Detroit. Chicago being at least 4 to 5 times bigger than Baltimore, but with a smaller city with a frequency of 300 something to 400 murders, a city that's only 1/5 the size of Chicago, is very clear to see what Baltimore's violence and murder rate would be like if it was at least half the size of Chicago. I walk on this earth, very humble, and I try to serve people and make this world better, knowing that so many people have died prematurely. A lot of my friends growing up as kids, when I got put in placements, as I would go back sometimes to see in the newspaper, a lot of them would be killed. And next thing you know, I'm up there showing up at the funeral for a young man that didn't even live to be 17 or 18 years old. It's also made me the man that I am today, as far as wanting to get out and wanting to venture and move around to other cities, because growing up in institutions, I always had to have somebody telling me where to go, whether it's a foster home or a group home or a juvenile detention facility or a lockdown facility or being incarcerated. in which I was accused of a crime at the age of 18 years old by a foster parent. I spent my senior year in jail for a crime that I didn't commit. And so it really affected me, but more importantly, it's given me the drive and the ambition to get as much of life as possible.
And I want you to elaborate on the activities of the street life that you indulged in when you lived in Baltimore, because you said that your mom kicked you out
Yes.
and gave you over to the state on
Yes.
top of that.
Yes, I'm going to the state of Maryland.
Yeah, so how did that affect your coming of age cycle?
If you see people, young men being killed, if you see them in a casket at the age of 14, 15, and 16, if you see them driving Maximas and Mercedes-Benz and Corvettes, and driving scooters and having all of this money, but knowing that they living pretty much an unadulterated life with no boundaries, you sort of look at life as being just fast-paced and just very like a rebel without a cause, and you sort of know, as I did, that a lot of them were headed down the wrong track. It helped me to want to get out of that, despite the fact that I did a lot of the same things, selling heroin at the age of 10 and 11, selling cocaine, using heroin, experimenting with marijuana, stealing cars. All of that really put into my subconscious a lot of traumatic, psycho-emotional energy that it was hard for me to get rid of.
HBO came out with the series called The Wire.
Yes.
Right? If you were to compare that series to the real life Baltimore, would you say that is accurate?
Somewhat. I mean, it's nothing like actually seeing dead bodies. It's nothing like seeing, a cold-blooded man set a woman up who set him up by using her boyfriend to get this dude stuck up, and then watching this dude retaliate, this female driving on a scooter, and this dude coming out of alley out of nowhere and just giving her a Russian sickle, taking her, airlifting her off of the moped, the scooter, and slamming her down on a car when she was actually driving 50, 60 miles per hour, him catching her in the air and slamming her down on a car and beating her like she had just shot at him, in a white car, seeing blood all over the car, made the car pretty much look like it was Candy Apple Ridge. Seeing dudes get ambushed in alleys, being a little kid and seeing dudes running down the street while you looking up in your second story window, watching dudes shoot craps, and seeing a crap game go bad, and seeing a dude get knocked down and 3 and 4 dudes stomping him into the ground, taking all of his money, watching him beat this man trying to get up conscious, trying to run with his pants hanging down. He trying to grab his belt buckle, and they beating him back down, stomping him into the ground, breaking his jaw, knocking his eye out of his socket. You know what I mean? Seeing females dead laying in a park playground at your elementary school. The Wire didn't show all of that. You know what I mean? At the age of 10 and 11, me running in the house with and stashing $3,000-4,000 worth of heroin and cocaine in the basement, and then looking on the news and seeing that they're actually doing an open air drug raid, as you see the news reporter talking about it and talking about where it's at, and then you actually hearing it, the helicopters and the police kicking down people's door and people screaming and yelling, and then being so scared that you have to, knowing that you don't want your mother to get caught up in this, although you don't know no better as a kid, so you run and grab the stash out the basement, and then your mom calling you like, Marlon, where you at? What you doing? Stay inside, but you know you got to get that stash out of the house, and then running out and just throwing it somewhere in the alley, in a brown paper bag near gutter, and then just seeing and experiencing this stuff. The wire didn't show all of that. You know what I mean? So to a certain extent, the wire has portrayed that, but I grew up post-wire because that was before me. Lil Melvin and all of them guys, that was before me. That was several decades before me. But even up to the day, if you go to Baltimore, like I said, it being one of the top murder-stricken cities, you will see the effect of it to this very day. You're talking about something that happened like in the 60s and 50s, right?
Right.
The early 70s.
Right.
And then you're talking about 2018, and you're still seeing what's going on in that city. Some of the same scenarios that's in the wire being popularized and guys being proud of it, it being like the heroin mecca, and they're still living out and portraying, post-wire scenarios because they want to keep it alive. It's no different than what you see when you see First 48. People are glamorizing that, and it's part of the reason why I never really went back to try to live. Because when you're a child, you think like a child, but when you become a man, you put away childish things.
That's real.
And so when you're talking about understanding through the coming of age that life is beautiful, life is valuable, just look around here at this scenery. A lot of my homies, they didn't get an opportunity to live to see this. You don't have kids, you know what I mean? And they never had that opportunity to see their kids grow up. And I've had that opportunity.